What is up, everybody? This is Omegabalmung. Welcome to my top 10 games of 2016. I'm looking forward to, showing you guys some of the games that I really enjoyed from 2016. Of course, some of these games are mostly games I've beaten or come close or put a lot of hours into it. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys at the end. At the number 10 spot, it is Attack on Titans for the PlayStation 4. Yes, Attack on Titans. It's actually a really good game. If you like the Musou type of game, that's what it is. It's very Musou, and it's by the same makers who did like Dynasty Warriors and things like that. But in a sense, it's kind of similar to that, but instead of fighting all these enemies, like thousands and thousands of soldiers, you fight a handful of Titans who can be chopped off from limbs like legs and arms, and then collect cool little items from them and craft better weapons. It does have an RPG element to it and a pretty decent enough story. I think it goes through the whole season 1 of Attack on Titans, just the bigger parts of the game, and then of course there's also different areas that you can fight in. You have the city, which is the best place to fight because it has all these buildings you could cling on, and then you have the forest, which is a little bit better because it has trees you still can cling on, but you also get these open field areas that are a little bit tougher to play on, but you do have your horse and whatnot. And like I said, you can use the little 3D maneuver, little latches that goes onto buildings and things like that. You can use that, and that was pretty fun. It gets it's kind of tough in the beginning to work with, but as you got used to playing the game, it gets much easier and easier to control, and the action to me is fantastic. Just chopping off limbs of Titans is really just sweet, and mostly when you got Captain Levi, who is freaking awesome, and he just destroys everything that's in front of him, and he's badass. Of course, you got Aaron, who his special is kind of cool. I like his special. I won't spoil anything, but to me his special is awesome. But like I said, love the game so far. I've been pretty much the beginning part, or the first story of the game. There is a kind of like, it doesn't follow the season 2 or anything like that. It just kind of makes his own story to follow along, but I still really enjoyed. I never really played the multiplayer, but you know what, I enjoyed for what I played. At the number 9 spot, it is Titanfall 2. Yes, a first-person shooter in this top 10. I loved it. Playing through the storyline, I loved it so much. It has some ups and downs in the storyline, but so far what I played from it, when you get your Titan, it's super fantastic. It's just very cool that they put these kind of almost platforming kind of gameplay into the storyline, where you have to platform from area to area, and they actually show you how to do it. Or you could just, if you wanted to, you could do your own little platforming to get through it, and it's freaking fast, fluid. When you go to the multiplayer, that's what you take what you learn from the storyline into the multiplayer, and it like amps it up to like 10. And to me, I love the the multiplayer too. Having fun just going around, playing mostly the pilot v pilot was pretty cool. I like that the most. The pilot, the Titan versus Titan, I wasn't a big fan of. I went in thinking that it was it was cool, but I actually didn't like it. But also there's I forgot what the game mode that it was, but it lets you play pilot v pilot plus Titans 2, which is freaking awesome. You mow down different Titans, you can mow down other pilots. You also have NPCs that pop up, and you can mow them down too, and get points and things like that. And it's cool just to be able to call your Titan. I think that's freaking awesome. But like I said, the storyline to it, it wasn't blown away fantastic or anything like that, but it did its job. I had fun playing through it. It's with the ending kind of being okay-ish, but but I still love the storyline. And then the multiplayer is where the game really sits at. At the 8th spot, it is Alienation on the PlayStation 4. I freaking love this game. Going in, I was like, oh, it's a twin stick shooter. Maybe it's I'm okay with twin stick shooters. I don't really like it, but you put in these RPG elements. You put in, almost a loot whore kind of game where you grab all these loots, these guns that you have, and you can, min and max your stats and things like that. You play with 3 other people to have a 4-player co-op through a storyline, or through these alien ships that you can work on. That gives you more better drops. Like I said, it's cool to have almost a MMO-ish type of gameplay with this. You got your tanks, you got your healers, you got your DPSs, and it's freaking awesome. If you cooperate with each other, everybody has their own abilities. It makes the game so much easier, and just going around shotgunning and everything is freaking badass. Mostly with the healer, bio specialist or something like that, right? He's able to one of his specialists, he's able to spit out these gas, and you just run around with this green gas, it's just damaging everything that's around it. And plus the fact that it has so much enemies on the field, and the freaking there's like lights. It's a freaking light show when you're shooting things are blowing up, you're using specials. It's just a big old wonderful light shows. Gameplay is fantastic. Graphic looks actually really good for a twin stick shooter. And of course, playability. Going and playing different characters sets you you kind of can work with whatever you want to. It doesn't really matter what you want to play. You can play it. And of course, the weapons are pretty freaking awesome. There's a lot of min-maxing. Like I said, you get all these cool weapons. You get also like these mods you can put on your weapons to make them stronger. You can reroll stats, and it's just very MMO-ish. At the number 7 spot, it is I Am Setsuna for the PlayStation 4. I really enjoyed this game just because it's a callback to a lot of my favorite games like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy and things like that. It is really a callback to that, and pretty much is kind of like Chrono Trigger. The gameplay itself is like Chrono Trigger. I mean, it's a turn-based game with combination of attacks that you can do with other characters. The only problem I really have with it is the fact that there isn't much variety in the world. It's a very I know it's a low budget game. It's a lower budget game, not a low budget, but it's a lower budget game that is whipped up, and it still plays really nice. But the world itself, it looks good. It looks great, but it's just a one-tone world where it's just snowing. That's it. And I wish we could see a little bit more of that. Fortunately, I didn't get to beat the game, but my cousin told me what the ending was, so I won't spoil anything for anybody if they want to play it. But yeah, so I still have a lot of fun with it. The storyline is very simple. You got this maiden you got to take to a certain shrine, and she has to die and things like that. So it's very just RPG-ish, kind of normal anime style story, but the gameplay to me is fantastic. The characters, yeah, they're okay. The main character is like super strong. He's supposed to be like almost like the Dark Knight, and it was a Final Fantasy 3 or 4, I think it was 4, right? And he's supposed to be the strong character, and everything like that. But like I said, I still like the the gameplay, the look of it, and it's still a really great game. And you can find it on the PlayStation. Well, by the time this comes out, the PlayStation Store is probably done with the selling it, but it was about $39 or something like that on the PlayStation Store. So if you get a chance to, I would pick it up. At the number 6 spot, it is Onisphere Luftriser. A super fantastic game. Yes, I know it is an old game from the PS2 era, but they remade it or remastered it for the PlayStation 4, and it's a fantastic game. They've redone a lot of things. They made it look a little bit better. I mean, the game already looks fantastic on the PS2, but they brought it to the HDH, so the sprites and everything looks much better. You have cool hand-drawn characters. You have a new revamped system. I love the revamped system. It's so fantastic. It's a side scroller with RPG elements to it. You level up, and you get new gear. You can make yourself stronger, and all these things. And like I said, it's a beat 'em up. It's a side scroller, and you go through stages to get to a boss fight, and you play through like 5 or 6 characters that you get to play through, and each one has their own special abilities. Each one is good with long range or short range. Each one uses magic, things like that. It's super awesome. I love it. And the gameplay with the swap from being its old self in the PS2 moving on to the PS4, they changed the gameplay. The gameplay to me was fantastic, really fast and fluid. You could combo in the hundreds. It made it look freaking fantastic. It was like a flashy game. I may be a little shallow, but I love my flashy games, and this is one fits the bill. Plus, it also is an RPG game. Loving the battle system, loving the RPG system. It does become a little bit easier, mostly if it just doesn't cooperate too well with the new battle system. It just makes the game a little bit easier, but I still had fun playing through it. At the number 5 spot, it is Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. One of my favorite series, the Dragon Ball Z series or Dragon Ball series of all time from the anime aspect. And the first Xenoverse game was pretty good. I actually really enjoyed it. I think it was one of my top 10s of last generation too. And when it first came out, I should say, and I really loved it. And Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 really expands from what the first game was. You can make your characters now. Each character is pretty cool. Each character has a transformation now, so it's not just, hey, be a Super Saiyan and you're good. Now each race has a transformation. They're adding more moves, added more storyline, but the storyline is still very similar to the old, Xenoverse. They use a lot of the assets from the old Xenoverse and put it into Xenoverse 2, which sucks. But they expanded a little bit more than that, and it's really the gameplay that they really expanded on. Also, they made it 60 frames per second, which is so much smoother. They changed the hub. The hub to me was the biggest problem of Xenoverse, and they changed it to where it's literally an MMO, and I keep bringing this up, and they really do need to make an MMO game for Dragon Ball Z, and they did make one a while back, but it's kind of dead. But anyways, it's very an MMO game. You min-max a lot of stats, each special moves, which is freaking awesome. I love the fact that you can put all these special moves onto your character. I just go with any Kamehameha type special moves, other than a few other ones that I want to put in. But I tend to keep with that. Like I said, love the game, love the gameplay, love the characters. I think it's not as much. I think there's less characters in this one than in Xenoverse, but I think it's more balancing. Hopefully, I think that's what it is, more towards balancing. But like I said, gameplay, the world is freaking fantastic. At number 4, it is Overwatch. Yes, there are 3 more games that I enjoyed more than Overwatch, and I freaking loved Overwatch. I love the characters, I love the gameplay, I love the almost MMO aspect of the game, and I'll talk about those in a second here. But like I said, the characters are freaking awesome. They're all just their own character. I think that's the coolest point of the game, is each character is unique, each character has their own abilities, and each character is own abilities and guns, and that's pretty cool. I love the gameplay. I love the fluid kind of almost Call of Duty type, but at the same time it's more of a team-based gameplay. And when I talk about team-based, you have your tanks, you got your healers, you got your DPSs, you got your characters that could debuff other characters, and that's, to me, it's really cool. It's very MMO-ish and very just I guess MOBA type too. I want to say I don't play too much MOBA, but to me it's just very MMO-ish, and you put that into a first-person shooter, and if you could get your team rolling, this game is fantastic. And plus, a lot of people don't like the loot system of this game. When you level up, you get the loot box, and you get an RNG of what you're going to get, skins, different taunts and things like that, different wins, poses and things like that. But I certainly don't mind it. But like I said, gameplay to me is just fantastic. I love the game modes. Of course, as far as I remember playing, there's only a few game modes where you take over areas, and you pretty much go and kind of take over an area, and then you protect this payload that goes to the other side of the the map, and if you do, you win. But like I said, if you can get people to come play with you, it's freaking fantastic game. Love the colorful characters and the colorful look of the game itself, and the MMO aspect of the game. So Overwatch to me is a fantastic first-person shooter of this year. Alright, at number 3, it is Watch Dogs 2. Coming in, for Watch Dogs, I'm like, yeah, it looks cool. I didn't really like the first Watch Dogs game. I mean, I loved the cool, almost vigilante kind of sections of the first Watch Dogs, which is not in the Watch Dogs 2, which sucks. I actually like that you predict what these person are going to do, and then you stop it, and that's pretty cool. I wish they had that in the second one. But the Watch Dogs 2 plays much better. it's more just, not serious, but more playful. It's a very colorful world. San Francisco looks freaking fantastic. Chicago is a little bit gloomy, of course, but San Francisco looks cool, and it's a big world. They have different cities. Part of the cities, you got the forest area. It looks freaking fantastic. Gameplay wise, I love it. I love using the little drone that you have, and you scope out the area and see where all the bad guys are and scope them out. Of course, you can use that to hack into their phones, hack into terminals and things like that. You can use a little RC car to blow up little, use it to blow up people or whatever you want to. I personally went in with a pretty much only using my stun gun. I was non-lethal. In the beginning I kind of used some of my guns, but I decided to go non-lethal, like maybe 20% into the game. I decided to switch to my stun gun. I stunned everybody. Of course, occasionally I stun somebody and then they're sitting next to a red barrel and it blows up and it kills them. My bad on that one, but like I said, I love the world. Driving is still kind of iffy, but all the activities you can do in the world is pretty cool. You go around taking selfies or pictures of these certain destinations. A lot of people love it because they live in San Francisco, and I never visited San Francisco, and I would love to now, just playing the game. Freaking awesome world, and just driving around with the songs and whatnot. They made the game so much easier, so much playful. The characters are all pretty much playful, and of course some of the characters are your side characters are okay, but they made the protagonists just like hateful, and you love them to hate them. So and then there's something that happens throughout the story that really just amps you up. But like I said, I love everything of this game, gameplay wise, graphic. It looks freaking awesome in the PlayStation Pro. Like I said, it looks so much just a lot sharper than anything else that you see on the system. So I love everything about this game. But fortunately, it's only on the 3rd spot, and we still have 2 more to go. At the number 2 spot, it is Stardew Valley. Yes, Stardew Valley is not a new game. It's a new game on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I currently played it on the PlayStation 4 Pro. There are problems with the game on the PlayStation 4 Pro, like the rest mode bug where the game doesn't let you go into rest mode, and when you do, you just get a flashing yellow light. There is, when party chat starts, there's problems with that. It crashes the game, and it's a loop of crashing. It just loops until you actually shut down the system. And then the biggest problem with me are those two, and then the smaller problem is the music bug where the game plays the music and then it just stops, and then you just get like background noise and things like that. But other than that, this game to me is a fantastic game. I sunk so many hours into it, even with all those problems. I had to shut down the game. The only way to get rid of those problems is to shut down the game, and I would do that every time. My cousin would invite me to a party chat, or if I had to switch to a different game, I would shut down the system, just because I love the Harvest Moon type of gameplay of this game. I'm a big fan of Harvest Moon, and just going living the farm life, and this is what you do in Stardew Valley. You live the farm life, you fish, you grow crops, you have chickens, cows, goats, whatever. You milk your cows, you pick up your chicken eggs and sell them. You can sell your fishing. The difference between this one is which kind of adds on to a lot of the fantasy life, I guess. I think that's what it's called, fantasy life of I don't think it's called fantasy life, but the newer Harvest Moon games is the action base. You can actually fight in Stardew Valley. I love just fighting, going mining in the mines, and you fight other enemies. You fight slimes, bats, ghosts, and all those stuff. And the game to me, it's just so much fun, so much activities to do. I sunk in maybe like 30 something hours. It probably would have been more if they didn't have any of these problems, but like I said, sunk so many hours into it. It is probably one of my favorite games of this year, and like I said, it's the number 2. There's only one more better than this one, but it's so much fun. Just it's a lot of people don't like it because it's just about farming all these things. It's very just grind. I love grinding games. There's No Man's Sky should have been on this list, but all these games were a little bit better than No Man's Sky. It was probably like the 11th, 12th game that I actually enjoyed. But Stardew Valley, all those stuff you can do, interactions with people, fishing, growing crops, taking care of animals, all that stuff. I don't know why I love that. You know, ever since Harvest Moon, I love doing that, and it shows into this game, and it's a real. I really love the game. All right, so we are finally at the #1 spot. It is Final Fantasy 15. You probably would have known that already. The game is not perfect. I mean, there is a lot of problems. If you've seen my review, there's a lot of problems that I had with the game, mostly in the story of the game. They don't tell you anything. You have to watch the movie. You have to go look at, things, other media to get to know a little bit more of the story. I felt lost in the game, story-wise. I didn't feel like what am I doing again? What am I, why do I have to do this? But the gameplay to me was such a fantastic thing. I love my, turn-based, just like I Am Setsuna. I love that turn-based, but it's just, I love the action. I love the fact that it's flashier, you can move around and things like that. Of course, the AI really hurts in this game. I wish you could do kind of like a gambit system, like what Final Fantasy 12 did. But your AI just kind of stands around, but you do most of the damage anyways. I love the world that you live in. EOS is great. I love just traveling around in your Audi, and that's a pretty cool part. Just traveling around your Audi with all your buddies, and it's pretty cool. You kind of get to know each other. They become almost part of, like I said in my review, they become part of my family, and it sucks after being in the game because I really enjoyed the world, and I kind of want to be still in the world, but I tend to not to play games twice, so it's kind of left this big chunk of hole in my heart right now that I really want to get back into the game. But other than a DLC and things like that, it sucks that I won't be going back into it. Maybe once they release some DLC, I'll probably jump back into it. But other than that, I'm pretty much done playing the game. But the game to me is still a fantastic game. It has flaws, but I still really enjoyed the game. Really enjoyed the battle system. Really enjoyed the world. Really enjoyed the guys themselves just interacting with each other, and the fact that it's open world. It's an open world game, or if most of the part it's an open world game, and you kind of just travel around the world. You get to see all these animals or these monsters that pops up. There's one time when I was driving, letting Ignis drive, and these monsters a herd of monsters just cross the road, just like cows or deers or something like that, and that's freaking awesome. And the other side, I looked on the other side, and there's cars that were stopped too. I mean, if anything, I would have just ran them over, but with the AI and whatnot. But just seeing stuff like that, made you feel like you were a part in the world, like it's a living world, and that to me is fantastic. So yes, Final Fantasy 15 is my game of the year, one of my favorite games of this year. Flaws and whatnot, is still a really fun game. Well, those were my top 10 games of 2016. There was a lot of games I actually really liked, and they kind of just got bumped out. Like, I was making the list, and it just kept getting bumped out of the way. So, unfortunately, I can't fit everything in there, or else I'll be like an hour-long video. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys come back next time for maybe I might do a top 10 or top whatever most disappointing games. I'm not 100% sure with that yet, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this one at least. And come back, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you guys like this video. This is Omegabalmung. I'll see everybody next time. Peace out.